far as I know, there were about 20K plus applications out there, and which I think about 27 got selected.
I think this is the question that most of the people would be having right now. Like if they are giving their 2 years to something like this, even if it's Google, is it actually paying?
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I get a lot of queries from people asking how they should go about starting their career in the field of data analytics, be it a fresher or someone who want to make a switch in their career. So for all of you guys, there is an amazing opportunity offered by Google, and that's called Data Analytics Apprenticeship program. And yes, it's for all such people who do not have much experience in the field of data analytics but want to make a career in it. So what are apprenticeship program? What's the eligibility of this particular program that Google offers? How to get selected for this program? And many more questions that would be coming to your mind right now would be answered today in this video by one and only Alina Sahoo. So Alina, after completing her post-graduation, she was doing a decent job but has some interest, has some curiosity to know more about data analytics. So one day while scrolling LinkedIn, she got to know about this opportunity. So she applied for it via Google's careers page and she got selected. So without any further delay, let's jump right into the conversation with her to know more about this program.
Hi Alina, welcome to the channel. So glad to have you here.
Hi, Tisha. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so first thing first, since you are into this Google Apprenticeship program and most of the people don't know about it. Even I did not know it until I met you and we talked more about it. So what exactly is this Google Apprenticeship program? And what I would like to know more about is how is it different from a full-time job or an internship that people do?
Okay. So, let's start with the internships first. So, what are internships? Internships are most catered to the ones in which like you have the required skill sets for that particular job, and you spend a certain amount of time frame within that role. So it lasts typically from 3 months to 6 months.
Right.
Whereas a full-time job is like you want to work there as an employee full-time. But what exactly our apprentices are, they are somewhere between the internships and full-time jobs.
Okay.
So let's say you want to start in a particular domain which you don't have any idea about. Okay, or you may have very little knowledge of it. So how do you move forward with that? So apprenticeships are those programs in which you have the interest and you show your passion, or you have some certain skill sets, and based on that you can apply to these programs, and these programs typically last from a year to 2 or 3. Okay, so it's more catered to providing you the required skill set for that particular job.
Okay, so it's basically a combination of a job and some training. So it's not only like when you join as a full-time employee, then it's like you should be having those skills. So you are using those skills to increase the value there at your company.
Yeah. Programs which are most catered to some in-hand training. So for certain, you will be trained on certain technologies, and based on that training, you will be utilizing them for your job role.
Oh, okay. So I think it's a great opportunity that Google is providing to the students because data analytics, it's somewhere a very new domain here in India, specifically if I talk about, and not everyone has the required skill set or the experience to get a full-time job. And getting internship is also a good idea, but also it will not give you that much exposure of doing some hands-on projects along with the training. So this Google apprenticeship program, so how long is this program for? What is the duration?
So for the duration of Google's Data Analytics Apprenticeship program is for 24 months. That is 2 years.
Okay.
So initially, for the certain amount of months, let's say 3 to 5 months, you will be trained on the tools and technologies required for that job role. And after your training, you would be working closely with the Google's teams, whichever
Okay.
you are assigned to. So mostly you will be working with the Google's project.
Okay, so Alina, is this a paid opportunity? I think this is the question that most of the people would be having right now. Like, if they are giving their 2 years to something like this, even if it's Google, is it actually paying?
Exactly. So all the programs, whichever are launched by Google, it's definitely paid. So you don't need to worry about working for Google and not being paid.
Uh-huh.
So definitely now it depends on the role which you're applying for.
Okay. So apart, like, I'm not sure if you would be having this idea, just a query that I have. Apart from data analytics, are there any other apprenticeship program that Google offers here in India? Would you be having any idea?
Yeah. I certainly do have an idea. So for the first cohort, like the cohort in which I am in, so there are programs for the data analytics as well as project management. But
Okay.
for the upcoming cohorts, which is going to start in March 2022, there are 4 programs. So there is data analytics, there is project management, there is IT, and there is digital marketing. So
Okay.
these are the 4 in which you have apprenticeships, and catering to the programs, the duration varies.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we all know that you have been enrolled in this program, and from the very beginning, everyone knows that you belong to a tier 3 college, which are a stereotype. Okay, I don't believe that tier 1 or tier 3 students differ in any sense, but um, so from that platform, like from a college like that, how did you get to know about this, and what's your story that you would like to share and inspire people out there?
Okay, so sharing my story, let's start it from how like my college journey started. So initially when I gave my 12th exams, my grades were certainly not that good that I would even get to an engineering college. So it was about 60 percentage. So you don't get any decent college out there with 60 percentage of marks. But however, I had good scores in English and computer science, so I had that certain interest with this domain. So I somehow got to a college which offered like this bachelor's in technology, and I chose my domain as computer science. But then until my first year, first years you're not very aware of the your life choices. You go and explore. So similarly, even I had done that only. I didn't do anything much, but yeah, I certainly had this thing in mind that until my fourth year completes, I would have a decent CGPA, which because at that time I knew like if you want to even seat for placements, you need to at least have 60 to 70 percentage. Otherwise, companies don't allow you. So I had this thing. I just need to maintain my CGPA, and rest everything is very chill. And until and unless my fifth semester completed, like this pandemic thing happened, and everything started remote. So remotely, even then also, I didn't like had anything clear picture in my mind. I was like, okay, like I would be getting some decent placements. So it's still chill. But until I came to my fourth year, I like I started panicking, and I was like, oh, will I be able to get a job or not? So then I got into interested in this domain, data science. So then I got to know about machine learning and deep learning and all these terms were very fancy at that time, and I didn't know much. So I started from the scratch. Okay, so why machine learning, and what are the algorithms, the underlying maths and stats required to understand these things? And even in my seventh semester, I had this subject called soft computing, where I got introduced to this neural networks, how do they work, the architecture behind it. So that led to an interest in this particular field. Seventh semester itself, I tried finding out the internships around data science. So what few of the internships I applied, and I learned new tools. Even for my first internship, that was like a data analyst one. I didn't know the tools and technologies like Tableau, Power BI. So I learned it for the first time for the internship itself. And then okay, these are the tools in which you can create dashboards, you can create visualizations, and it looks so beautiful. I'm like, okay, this is something which I can do. I'm like really liking it. Okay, so then I was like, okay, this could be a career perspective for me. Then at that time I had this thing in mind. Okay, I want to. If anybody would ask me, I would say I want to be a data scientist. And it's not like recent graduates you get the first role as a data scientist itself. So like I got the help from my seniors and all, and they were like, it's fine if you don't land up your first role as that. You can sift after certain years of experience. And then I lost all the hopes. Okay, probably I could not get it right now. So let's prepare for the college placements and see what all companies come in and all. So after certain number of placements, I was like, okay, this is not working out for me. I want to work there itself. Let's try off campus. So I started exploring around LinkedIn. So whatever, like I set the job alerts and then I started exploring about it. I used to fill out for the job roles, but was not getting my desired match. Okay. So then I stumbled upon a startup and they were offering, like I interviewed with them and I interviewed for the role of product specialist. That was again for regarding the product and the technical side. So although I was okay, it was a decent job, but I was like, in the long run, I don't want to work as a product specialist. I knew my interests were aligned to the data science. So, and while I was working, then only one day I was just scrolling around and I got this post of Google's Data Analytics Apprenticeship. And I was like, what is it? Let me just check it. And okay, so this is something which, okay, at that time I was like, I randomly applied. I didn't even think that I would even get a call after that. So it was just out of curiosity, let's apply. Because ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा, नहीं select नहीं होंगे, but apply तो कर ही सकते हैं.
Right. That's how LinkedIn has helped a lot of people in exploring what they didn't know and then stumbling upon something that they realize, okay, this is for me. What I wanted to ask is, since you had applied for it, so is there any specific criteria for the students to apply for this apprenticeship program, and who all can actually apply for it?
Yeah, there is a criteria. Like you at least need to be a university grad
Okay.
or associate's degree. Let's say after 12th also you can apply, but you need to have certain level of problem thinking skills,
Mm-hmm.
your analytical thinking.
Yeah.
So it's basically for the ones who have done with their university, bachelor's in technology, bachelor's in science, any domain, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So yeah, after that you just need to fill up a resume and a cover letter. That's it.
And it's so good to know. So it happens, like I get a lot of queries from a lot of people that who are in their undergraduation, does their 12th marks matter, and the things that you have told, that you did not have a very good grade in 12th.
Clarifying this to
Yeah.
all the students who think that marks matter and all. I scored perfect 10 CGPA in my 10th, but in my 12th I scored at least 65, which like I just passed in my main three subjects of engineering, that is physics, chemistry and maths. So
Yeah.
I just nearly passed, whereas in other subjects I performed decently well. But looking to my undergraduation marks, I was among the at least top 5 students. But again, I say marks don't matter, because when you apply for big tech companies, they just want to see your skills. So as long
Exactly.
as you're highlighting your strengths, what you bring onto the table, and how is it going to benefit them and you, it's all that matters.
Yeah. And I think like this, another question that a lot of people think about is, if I'm from a commerce background or if I'm from an arts background, will I get that opportunity? I think it all depends on what skills, what internships you have in your resume, what your resume is telling the recruiter.
It's basically a story. What's
Yes.
yours? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Let's say, I mean, in my cohort only, there are people from several backgrounds. There are people from commerce background. There are people from stats background. There are people from even B.Tech, but from different, say, automobile backgrounds.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like they have studied these things in their undergrad or that. It's just that they gradually had interest
Interesting.
and they wanted to pursue, but they were just waiting for that one opportunity. So it's about that one call which decides, okay, are you going to make it or not?
Yes, yes. And your efforts towards the domain in which you are interested does not matter. Like we sometimes end up taking wrong decisions related to our career. We get into some course which is not at all of our interest due to something or the other. There could be a number of reasons. But later point in time, if you today's world is like, if you have interest, if you can grab, like if you can learn the things on your own, then you are good to go. You can enter any field whatsoever. Yeah. Okay. So how was your selection process? How many rounds were there? What all did they ask? Can you elaborate more on it?
So my selection procedure, it consisted of like first, like you had to apply. So first is resume. So once your resume gets selected among like thousands, so you get a telephonic call.
Okay.
Like they check if you are a good fit to go or not.
Mm-hmm.
So once if you clear that telephonic round, then there are a couple of face-to-face video interviews lined up.
Okay.
So it typically depends on like yours. So there are mostly 2 to 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 2 rounds.
Okay.
So first one was more of a technical one, like again your basic skills, what does your resume offer, and some questions regarding the data analysis
Okay.
and stats, SQL, or probably a case study itself. Like how do you solve, how do you approach a problem? Let's say you've been given any random problem. Uh, let's take an engineering example, for example. Like in your home, let's say a pipe is broken. So
Okay.
how do you go on fixing this? आप पूरा पाइप तो नहीं उखाड़ दोगे, right?
Right.
आप चेक
Right.
करोगे कुछ फटा वटा तो नहीं है, कुछ लीकेज तो नहीं है. So that's how you implement your problem solving skills.
Exactly.
So you would get some questions around the Google products itself. So let's say there are some issues around it, and how do you go on fixing it? How do you go on solving it? So
Okay.
some technical interview would mostly lie around these things only. And once you have cleared that round, so there is another, the leadership or googliness interview, in which you're tested on certain skills, leadership skills. Like tell me an instance where you felt very low in your life and how did you overcome out of it.
Behavioral sort of question that they want to assess.
Questions around this. So once you clear that round, again there could be another round, sort of it could be a mix of this technical plus behavioral.
Okay.
Or sometimes even you don't like, if they are satisfied with your first 2 rounds, you'll not be having rounds. And then it's the mostly the HR community's call. So if everything goes well, and if they find you suitable enough, so and then you get.
So Alina, my next question to you is, so what do you think has worked for you? What are some of the things you think that people would have seen in your resume? Because as you said, you did not have a very good grade or a very good college to support. You had decent internships in your resume. So, and I think there are a good number of people who apply to these apprenticeship program, and you would. So, may I know the statistics if you would have heard about it? Out of how many were you selected?
As far as I know, there were about 20K plus applications out there, and which I think about 27 got selected. Less than 0.15%, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, so there should be something in your resume that they would have looked at. So, I'm not asking what exactly did they see, because you would not be knowing that for sure.
Yeah,
But
I certainly don't know what could have worked in my resume.
yeah, but you would be having some idea, like what are some of the things?
If like scanning my resume, probably probably computer science background could have worked.
Okay.
Plus some like skill sets which I mentioned for the data analysis role. So probably could be Excel or the visualization tools or the like machine learning part, so I had some decent knowledge around that. So like one thing I could say is like you just need to be thorough with your basics at least.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever projects also which I had mentioned, so I had mentioned my final year projects. So I was clear with that part, whatever I have done. So that could have worked. And other thing would be like how I performed in the interview itself. So it could be there were instances where I did not know the exact terminology for that. But if you could explain the way you communicate, if you could explain with an example, or you could relate it with something in real time, so I think that could also work. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. This could have worked for me.
Yeah, and since
Eventually, work out.
it's an apprenticeship program where they're expecting to train you on certain things which you are
Yeah, it's
going to
not
do.
like
Yeah.
you should know everything, but you should have that learning aspect. So it's not like, okay, if you don't know certain tools and technologies, these all can be, you can be trained upon. So but the learning attitude, like let's say your curiosity and everything, that's not something which you can be trained. It's something which you have to bring it on your own.
Yes.
So there are some interpersonal skills also which plays a major role in these kind of interviews. I mean, looking upon it, it may seem like, okay, there's nothing which I should know of. Like, there are no technical skills required up to that level. But if you look at the stats, you could know.
Okay. So now we know what are some of the things that a person should keep in mind during their interview if their resume gets shortlisted. But before that, for the resume shortlisting part, what are some of the things that you would recommend to the people that they should keep in mind while building their resume if they're applying to this Google Apprenticeship program and they want to get selected? Yeah.
Okay, so while applying, let's say, like, you don't need to have like full-time experience. You need to have some sort of experience which adds to your resume. Okay, so if you show your interest, your passion, like let's say you've been doing this thing, because like if you think of data analysis in the broader perspective, you're doing it every day. You wake up in the morning and you see some figures around it, you see the headlines, you try to make something. Okay, if you go for like exercises also, you see like how you're performing. So
Yeah.
these are some things which you do it in your day-to-day life. It's not something like you need to have certain skills for it.
Exactly.
So how are you able to compute the data and make some insights? So if like I said in my interview, okay, these are the things which I do it in regular basis. So this involves data analysis, right? So how do you present that thing in your resume also counts. So you are trying to build up a story here. So once you're able to convey it and focus on your strengths in your resume itself, it's not like you need to include everything. You just need to show them a teaser of what you are. And in the interview itself, you can show your complete picture, or like, okay, these are the skill sets, or these are the things which I offer, and this is how I would be able to add value. So yeah, these are some things which they should keep in their mind while applying for any apprenticeship roles.
Yeah, and I feel that doing some internship sort of thing or participating in some hackathon or creating some projects on your own,
Exactly.
these things show your interest, and this is how you can tell the other person, tell the recruiter that yes, you are interested in this field, and that's why you have, even if you don't have a full-time experience, you have such
Yeah, even
things.
if you don't have the certain internships or hackathons also, it's completely fine. If you don't know anything about this, well, that's also completely fine. Until and unless you are able to show that curiosity, that eagerness, and like, because there have been instances in my interviews also itself where I completely didn't know anything of that thing which, when I heard it for the first time itself.
Right.
But as long as you're able to break down into chunks of data and able to comprehend it and present your findings, so I think it should work out.
Okay, so now let's come to the specifics of this program. Now we have talked about how to enter this and what all things a person would have to do in order to get into this. Now talking about the specifics, so since this is a 2-year program, and as you have previously mentioned also that for around 3 to 4 months they'll be giving you training, and then based on those trainings they'll be giving you projects. Now, what all have they been covering in these programs? Because it's already been, I think, around 2.5 months for you into this program, right?
2 months. Yeah, I just completed 2 months now.
Yeah, so you completed 2 months, so it's been not a very short journey for you. So what all have they taught you in this duration?
Okay, so like let's start it from the scratch level. So you don't know anything about it. So like why data analysis? What are the different career prospects of data analysis?
Okay.
Then like you find some data, how do you go on solving a certain problem? Like you don't go and find and you start building dashboards, or you say ki, haan, okay, this is a measure and all. So you start from the very basics. So firstly, like Excel is still underrated skill, I feel. Like
Yeah,
many people say they know Excel, but there's a lot in Excel also.
exactly.
So which I came to know through this program itself, because there were some advanced tools, the conditional formatting, the different functions, we look up and all. So once you're thorough with these basic skills, then you would go on to the art of approaching a problem. So let's say you have the required data set and you have the required data, but you don't know how to proceed with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be taught on that thing also. Okay, how do you proceed on that?
Yeah.
And after all these basic skill sets are covered, so mostly we have sessions, daily sessions on this. There are some one-on-one sessions which we can ask doubts about this. Then there are some predefined courses which you can complete in your own pace of time.
Okay.
And there are some certain case studies also which helps you understand the real world scenario. So these are some data, and what do you find out of this? So what are some of your insights? So
Okay.
I think all this accumulates to what you will be working in with the Google Teams itself. So for me, like the basic everything is covered. Now we are mostly in like building. Okay, so we know how to collect data, how to do the data cleaning part. Now you know how to build visualizations and provide your insights. The art of storytelling then comes in.
Okay.
And how do you present it to the stakeholders? So there are some certain etiquettes also. Okay, these are the things which you should do and these are the things which you should avoid. So all these sums up. And lastly, I think every after this you'll be judged and tested on certain parameters. So once everything, the training is fully done, then you would be more inclined to your Google specific teams which you would be working on.
Okay.
So
So,
I'm looking forward to.
yeah. So is there any assessment or something that they do after your training is completed in order to assess whether you are now capable of doing the projects?
I mean, I think so. There are some assessments for me, but I don't know on what basis or what parameters, because every week we have been some projects, some assessments. So everything adds up to that. It's not like the final assessment. So
Okay.
what's been your progress every day, every week, what all things you're learning, and obviously there would be some assessments, and post that assessments you would be like working.
So, how has your experience been so far? And I will come to why I'm asking this question. So, first, I would like to know your experience.
So my experience, certainly, if I say, like initially everything was very new. It will gradually, it will take time to understand everything, how certain things function. So like initially you would feel some challenges, but again once you are thorough with it and you start you start getting a hang of everything,
Yeah.
then everything feels smooth. At times there have been like obviously like the work hours and everything is very flexible, the people are very cooperative here,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean that you can you should not work. So whatever assessments, whatever tasks have been assigned to you, you should work and you should complete it within the deadlines. It's not like you don't know something, so you could ask someone about it. And for me, it's been very nice and very happy. I mean, like, I have met some very good company of people here, so who've been there for me. And yeah, it's been fruitful for me.
Okay. So why I was asking you that question was basically because after watching this video, many people would be interested to enroll for this program. So do you think it's a good opportunity to grab? Would you recommend this program to other people also?
I would certainly recommend, but again, it depends on how your career lines are aligned. So let's say for someone who've not got enough opportunities, who don't know like a lot about this field and want to kickstart their journey.
Yeah.
So definitely, this is a very good opportunity. Now, for someone who've been working around in this field as a full-time job and wants to switch to this program, I would certainly not recommend it, because again, after working in a certain company for several years, you can definitely work here full time.
Right.
And these opportunities are for the ones who get very less in
Exposure.
their, yeah, very less exposure within their campus, or maybe in like in the off campus opportunities also. Plus, these are mostly for the ones who want to make a shift in their career. So let's say you're working in a certain domain. Let's say you're working in sales and marketing. Let's say you're working in software engineering and you want to make a switch to data science. So you don't know how to go about it. So
Right.
yes, these programs could be a like path to your next job role as a data scientist or as an analyst or anything.
Right.
So for them, it's well recommended. But for the ones who've already been working in this domain for, let's say, a year and a half, or want to like apply for these apprenticeship roles, I would not recommend it.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I think that's what I wanted to hear from you. Whether like what sort of people should apply to this, what sort of people should not apply to this. So that gives a clear answer. Yeah.
These are my opinions. I feel like I have been also getting a lot of queries like, we've been working at so and so company and we have certain level of experience and we want to apply for Google Apprenticeship programs. This is not the role for you. These are for the ones who've had this kind of this kind of conditions where who've not got more opportunities. So this could be for them. And for someone who is completely new and want to kickstart their journey in this particular domain and have no idea how to proceed, or have very less idea, like very less experience, so for them it's highly recommended.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you would recommend to the people that they should take advantage of after actually getting into this program? Because see, Google is one of the very huge companies that exist in the world. So if you're getting an opportunity to work with Google, even if as an apprentice, you will get 2 years with Google, you'll get to work with a lot of people, you'll be given projects and all. So what are some of the things they should take advantage of, and what are some of the things that you are keeping in mind right now?
Okay, so you should highly network with people. So as long as you communicate with different arenas and different horizons of people, so you get to know different things and how certain things work in a certain company, the workflow, the process, and everything. And you should communicate, and you should be the one who like takes up challenges and like, okay, this should be something which I should start on, even if like there's no one. So you should take initiatives first thing.
Yeah.
And there could be a lot of like, once you're applying and getting into this program, so there could be this imposter syndrome, like there are a lot of people who are more talented than me, and what if I don't solution to this, what if I ask and if I sound very dumb. So it's okay, and it's absolutely fine if you feel that way, but don't let that overconsume you. Because initially, even I used to feel the same. But again, if you have come this way and made this far at Google, that means you have something within yourself. So you need to have that self belief in yourself.
It's so good to know that you have chosen something which has not been chosen by many. This is a completely different path which most of the people don't know about. and you are inspiring a lot of people. And I think after watching this conversation, many people will get to know more about these programs. They will now even search not just for Google, but for other companies apprenticeship program which they can apply to and explore and make their career in the desired field. Even if they want to switch to a completely different field, they can just go and apply and start exploring. So that brings to the end of our conversation, and I had really a good time talking to you, Alina. And I'm quite sure that the people who will be watching this video, they'll get inspired from you. And if they have any sort of queries, so I'll be giving Alina's LinkedIn profile in the description. Okay, so it was very nice talking to you, Alina. I hope a lot of people get benefit from it.
And thank you again for having me here. And I hope this video reaches out and inspires at least few of the people. And
Definitely it will.
yeah.
So guys, this is all for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below and subscribe to this channel to know more about data science and more about the other fields that are booming right now. So stay tuned.